Last year, with the help of my Ko-fi members, I bought myself a Cricut machine, and I've been experimenting on and off with it over the past year. I've made a lot of paper projects, I've made some birthday cards, but I've also been using it in my sewing. So I made paper templates for English paper piecing, I used it to make an entire quilting project, and I've also done some vinyl projects. But there is one material I haven't explored yet, which is the heat transfer vinyl, and you'll probably be familiar with this. This is sort of how you make custom t-shirts, and they have a design printed on the front, or rather ironed on the front. And because I'm a costumer, I volunteer with my local amateur dramatic society, or you might know it as a community theatre group. And for their upcoming production, they need some custom t-shirts making, and I'm so excited because I thought to myself, rather than sending off to one of these online companies and not getting a result that we're entirely happy with, I can make them myself on the Cricut. The production that I'm helping costume is Footloose, and so if you haven't seen the film with Kevin Bacon, essentially the premise is there's a tragic accident in this small town in America, and this kid who comes from the big mean streets of Chicago turns up in this town, and he's shocked to discover that dancing is banned. The Act 1 finale is a very clever scene, because obviously there's no dancing allowed in this town, and that makes it very difficult to stage a show-stopping Act 1 finale if you can't dance. What they've very cleverly done is written it to be what I would call PE scene. You might call it physical education, phys ed, or gym class. So rather than dancing aggressively about how frustrated they all are about not being able to dance, they're in PE class and they're sort of like boxing and skipping and running and stuff. Our choreographer has done a fantastic job on making this number work. And so my contribution is to make them all essentially a PE kit, at least a t-shirt that looks like a PE kit. I have looked at some examples online from other versions of the production, and they do this as well. And I've also done, that's me, overthinking this as usual, I've done some primary research, and I've looked at photographs of like school PE kits in America from the 80s, because obviously my school experience is very different to an American high school, because even for government funded education in Britain, you have to wear a school uniform, and that extends to your PE kit. And so I didn't know whether like matching PE kits were a thing. I've seen sort of both in TV and film set in America. But we're in the world of musical theatre, we're in amateur dramatics, and so it's always good to give the audience, who are mostly friends and family, a little bit of a helping hand to understand what's going on. Shall I show you my design for the t-shirts? So I apologise for filming the screen, but my screen recorder often glitches, and so this is the best we've got. I am no graphic designer, okay? And so I was very much reliant on presets within the, I was going to call it Canva, it's not Canva, is it? Within the Cricut design space. This is, I like typed in varsity and got this font and this big letter. So it's going to be a big B with this circle around it. It took me ages to figure out how to curve the letters, because all the tutorials I was watching, they had a different version of the software, and it turns out you have to press this little edit button and then you can come down to these things and do all fancy things with it, including curve. But like I say, I'm not a graphic designer, and I haven't worried too much about like the alignment of everything. I've just made the Cricut software center it. So you can see like it's a bit close with this H and this O. I'm not particularly worried about that. I think it's fine for some t-shirts for an amateur musical production. This is going to be a lot of weeding, however. Weeding is when you remove the excess around everywhere, so I'm going to have to like peel out all the layers here. Having never done this before, I knew I wanted some guidance to follow, and so I found a YouTube tutorial basically. So this is from a creator called Jennifer Maker. And I'm so glad I did watch this, because there were so many aspects of this that I hadn't thought about. Which side of the vinyl you have to stick to the mat, what settings to put your machine on, also the fact that you have to mirror your design when you cut it. So I'm very grateful to this creator for their very thorough tutorial. And one of the things they have as part of their tutorial is like a guide for where to place things. So I think I'm going to make one of those as well. I have 15 t-shirts to make. I have my vinyl. I asked the director what colour she thought Beaumont High School logo would be, and she said blue. So I've gone for this brighter blue than navy, just because, as often happens in the theatre with the way that the lights work and colour theory and things, a dark blue often just looks black. So I've gone for a brighter blue. It's not quite that bright, in real life. And I've got my t-shirt blanks. I'm sorry to say, these came off Amazon. I don't feel great about that, but it's not my money I'm spending and we're on a budget. So would I have liked to get something better quality? Of course. They're not horrendous. They are Fruit of the Loom, but there's a part of me that's like, maybe I should have pre-washed these because they're probably going to shrink. I think it'll be okay. We'll go as they are because actually the sizing in them, as in like whatever starch they use during the manufacturing process, is probably going to help me get a smoother finish. So yes, I got 5 extra large, 5 large and 5 medium. Let's hope that they fit the cast. Yeah, what I might do is I might do a test run, make one from start to finish, do the cutting, do the weeding, do the heat transfer pressing, because I don't have one of the official presses. I'm just using a domestic iron here and I want to make sure I get it right. And then do a production line, I guess. So where's my material cutter? Got my mat, got my vinyl cutter. Well, no, it's not a vinyl cutter, is it? And I've got my little scrapey thing. So let's cut our first bit of vinyl. So I'm going to need 30 centimetres of vinyl. And then I need Jennifer to remind me which way up this goes.
Now they want to place it shiny
side down. Okay, here goes. So difficult to get it straight. I know it's not like fabric, it's not like it has a straighter grain, but my experience with the cutting the fabric has taught me that it definitely helps to have it as square as possible. Right, okay. Make. On mat. There we go. Mirror. Okay, continue. Machine's not available. Oh, I haven't switched it on. So now I need to choose my material. And I've got the value iron on, and apparently that makes a difference. So there it is, value iron on. Let's bookmark that so I can find it again. Fine point blade. Let's go to the machine. Hilariously, I was like the other day, I know, I'm going to get really organised. And I asked for these woven baskets for my birthday so I can have like a yarn and a fabric stash and it would be so pretty and aesthetic. And of course, I have more stuff than can fit in. Looks a mess. Right, I'm just gonna, one of the things Jennifer said was to put it on more pressure. So let's do that. And then we press load. Away we go. Always very satisfying doing that. So Jennifer says, first things first is just lift a little bit so that you can tell whether it's cut through. Nope, we're good. And then I should probably suppose I could trim those corners and make my life a bit easier, couldn't I? Where's some craft scissors? It's not that I think I'll be able to reuse these sections of vinyl, it's just so that I can peel it off a bit easier. Let's start with the big bit. Oh boy. Difficult but satisfying. Don't really know the best way to go about this. I'm just sort of tugging and hoping for the best. Maybe something like that. That's a bit more like it, isn't it? Yeah. Right, that's the tricky bit. Now I've just got to do all these tiny weeny little individual sections. Like, oh god. In there as well. This bit, yeah, and that bit. Oh, now that one was satisfying. Okay, so now I'm making using this scrap of card to make the template. So I put my pen in. Oh, hang on, I'll put that on the lid. There we go. That's in, and then we load this. And so this will cut the stencil for the neckline so that I get them all the same. At least I hope, anyway. Oh, this is going to be a bloody ages. Yeah, I'm having a nice day. I'm making the t-shirts today. That noise in the background is my Cricut. So, oh, there we go. Okay, next steps. Where did I put the lint roller? Over here. Also, probably going to need this, aren't I? So I've got lint roller, wall pressing mat, design, seam guide thingy from Jenny's blog, my iron, which is currently got a little bit of water left in it still, but that should be okay. So I need the highest heat apparently. I've got my t-shirt. Now, part of me feels what I should do is probably put this inside the t-shirt. Will it go that way? It will. It's backwards. Oh no, it's just upside down. And that's not enough. I think let's put the wall pad in the other way. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? I think this is it. So yeah, that's my centre. Then I've got my iron on the hottest. And I'm standing up because you have to press for 30 seconds apparently. That's the thing with a design like this and an eye in this shape. Am I not going to be going over bits more than others? I can already see that it's gone wrong. Is it too hot? Do I need to turn it down? Now we leave it to cool and hope for the best. Forgot the greaseproof paper, didn't I? Also found a short from a lovely British lady who said, who told me like the heat actually I need. I had it too hot as well. So I've gone over this with the greaseproof paper, but given that I've essentially torched it, yeah, that's not great, is it? Which is possibly explaining why the plastic puckered, and that's why this has gone so badly wrong. So, the moment of truth though. These ones up here that have not taken very well. Let's okay. Good enough for a first attempt. They're only going to get easier and better from here, right? Okay. Time for production line. These ends. So, what do you think? Obviously, this is not all 15 of them, but I think they turned out really well. To say this was my first ever heat transfer project, I had a few sticky moments. There's a couple that are not perfect, but I don't have a heat press. I struggled with the ironing, with the weight of the iron, with a full-size iron. I'd sort of forgotten how heavy they are, or at least to me they are, and like how unwieldy they can be when you're like sat down and you've not got a lot of strength. Anyway, I think they're going to look really great on stage. I think the blue is really going to pop. I think they're kind of, even if you can't read the text, you get from the letter B that it's a school logo and the font and stuff. So I'm pleased with the design, I'm pleased with the execution, and I think this was another successful outing for the Cricut. It's definitely given me some ideas for like other, perhaps slightly more high-end uses for the heat transfer vinyl. Not that this isn't high-end, but you know, not being a t-shirt wearer really myself, you know, I'm never gonna like wear a t-shirt which is like, I'd rather be knitting or something. That's not I'm not going to be making that sort of t-shirt for myself. It might be a bit of a challenge to come up with some other ways to use this material, but certainly for costuming, very handy. So thanks for watching. See you next time.